Camera's not even there. Once she's set, we'll make it short, sweet, painless as possible. Let you guys get back to what you were doing. Let you get on the road as soon as you need to. Make sure my gadgets are quiet. There we go. First, I know it's on your name tag, but can I get you to say and spell your first and last name for me?
Tony Corbin, Tonicorbin. This is Wallace Peterson, W-A. Go ahead.
Okay. And so, tell me why you're here.
We're here to support the Cougar-Coon Medical Cannabis Act, trying to get our legislators to pay attention to the disabled people, people in pain, children who have seizures, so many people with medical problems, and the traditional medical community is failing us.
And tell me a little about your son. He's the reason you're here.
Right.
So tell me, what he's been through, his current treatment plan, and why you think that medical marijuana would benefit him.
Wally had a motorcycle wreck in 2009 and suffered a severe traumatic brain injury where they didn't think he'd wake up. He was in a coma for several months, minimally conscious, tracheotomy, feeding tubes, everything. That was when they decided, oh, well, he might survive this after all. So then we fell through some cracks, had to bring him home. There was no rehab available for anyone over 21 under 10 care. Another issue. But he has many, many issues. Seizures, chronic pain syndrome, neuropathic pain. If I touch him now, usually he'll say, ow. He doesn't want anybody to touch him. It also affects the cognition. The traumatic brain injury also affects mood swings, irritability, anxiety. He has spasticity, contractions, that baclofen and all the pumps and everything they give him to relax him. The only other thing that's available is Botox, but you have to have, that's a toxin, you have to have it injected every 3 months. And that releases some of them, the spasticity. What else? So many. Those are the main ones, though, that would qualify him for the Medical Cannabis Act. And those are the ones we want to try to get him off some of the seizure medicines, the opiates that they make him take at pain management. If he doesn't keep his opiate levels up, then they kick him out. They don't say, oh, take him as needed. No, you have to have everything they prescribe you. So he's doped up all the time. If I gave him marijuana to relieve it without their permission, they kick him out because they test him every month. They have us over a barrel. And the pain medicines don't, because his pain syndrome is so rare, it's not helping. The opiates do not actually work for it, but that's all they know how to do. I've asked them to think outside the box, but they don't know how to do it. He has endocannabinoids receptors in his brain and body. The plant grows natural. It sends out those chemicals. There's a reason that plant's there and that those receptors are in your body. They were made to go together, to either supplement medicine or to be the medicine. And all we're asking for is a chance to have that safe alternative medicine.
You said this happened in 2009, so you've been dealing with this for almost 5 years now.
And the medicines are so bad, the opiates and the seizure meds. First off, the seizure meds don't work. We've been on so many. He started having a session not too long ago where they didn't stop. They're called status ellipticus, where your seizures just don't stop. He went into a coma, had to be intubated, and back on feeding tubes for a week until they finally got the seizures under control. But we're talking about massive doses by IV. And then we're having all these real miracle breakthroughs with these children who have these types of seizure disorders, where after just a few months, 75% of their seizure disorders are gone, or their seizures are, cut back. And plus the seizure meds dope them up. The opiates, he's so fragile with the opiates. He was in the hospital for just a simple procedure, and somewhere along the line, somebody gave him too much. Didn't have to be a lot much, because he's on so much, but they gave him too much. He crashed, they couldn't find a bottom pressure. And that's under the hospital's care. So I walk a fine line, keeping him alive, keeping him somewhat pain-free, but not killing him. And it's been tough. It's been real tough. We go to emergency rooms for, it builds up a bad gas blood level ratio. And when you have too much opiates, it builds up in your system. We've been to the hospital for that. We want them off the opiates.
Some of the people who are now for medical marijuana I've talked to, and they said that, you know, years ago they were the ones who were absolutely against it. How, you know, did you ever think you'd be in this position?
I've been looking at alternative medicines my whole life. That's just my mindset. I'm holistic, try to eat good, healthy. So I knew about all the studies since the 90s. I never thought I'd be in this position, no, where I would have to think about having to move away to help my son to a state that already has it, or to break the law for my son, which I don't dare do because Adult Protective Services, he's gone to state custody. I mean, everything's out of our hands. We don't have a say-so. And the alternatives that are there and safe, we don't dare go there unless we come legal.
So you have considered moving?
Yes, seriously, and still are.
If it doesn't pass this year?
I have 2 little grandchildren that live here. I don't want to leave, and my parents live here. We don't want to leave here. But for his sake, I do.
Is there any state in particular that you've been looking at?
Washington, mainly Washington, because I have family on the Pacific West Coast, and I wouldn't feel so lonely. Maybe not there. But we've looked at Colorado because there's a lot of Tennesseans that have picked that state, and we feel like it's almost like an expat community that we might be able to get some. Sorry, an expat community that we could have some support and feel like we're still Tennesseans.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. Is there anything else you want to add? Think I didn't ask or want to say?
You want to say anything, Wally? No, but he's good. Just hope that everybody supports it.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.